Once we've animated our model, we'll now put in our lights using Arnold lighting. Holding down the space bar, I'll go to Create, Lights, Spotlight. I'll hit 4 on the keyboard, and I'll start to position the cone. If I hit T on the keyboard, it separates it into two elements, the target and the source. I'll hold down V and select the target, and I'll snap it to the dollar bill sign. And then over in my attributes, I'll make the cone angle about 140, number angle 10, intensity about 100. And then under Arnold, I'll make the exposure 3.5, and I'll go to my Arnold render view. Once I have one light set up, I'll duplicate it and drag it over to the other side. I'm going to go in and drop the opacity of the shadows just so I don't have that dark area in the background. I'll be sure to rotate it so I get a nice 3/4 view of the model. And then I'll start to set up my render settings. At the top of the user interface, I'll go to the little Hollywood clapboard to the left of the pool ball, the one with the little gear, and I'll click on that, and that'll allow me to put in my frame range, the image format, and camera. Now, I'll go ahead and name it first. And then the image format's going to be a TIFF, so we have the alpha channel, and we can put the background in After Effects. Down a little bit lower where it says Frame Animation Extension, I'll click on it, and I'll choose the very last one, which is for After Effects. Now, I'm going to make just one render to make sure I've got the camera set up at the angle I want. This is the perspective camera, and I can confirm that in here. But I'll make the end frame 1, so it will generate just one frame. I'll now go to my viewport, hold down my space bar. I'll go to Render, Render Sequence, Attributes. And again, you can confirm your camera at the top of this Render Sequence window. I'll click on the little folder, and I'll direct it to a folder in which I can put my renders. And I'll select it. And then all I have to do is click on Render Sequence. So this is what all of them will render out as. I'll close it out, and I'll go back to my render settings. I'll change the end frame to 150, and then I'll click on Render Sequence. And when we come back, we'll bring these sequence into After Effects. I've opened up After Effects, and now I'm going to create a new project. I'll select the project window in the upper left-hand corner. You'll see a blue outline around the box. And then I'll go to File, Import, File. Locating the folder with my renders, I'll select one of the frames. And down at the bottom, I'll click to make sure that TIFF sequence is selected. If I go to the project window now, I'll see an icon. And I'll also see the animation in the upper left-hand corner. I'll click with my left mouse and drag that into the middle window, the composition window. And you'll see it's placed it in our timeline. Now we want the background to be gray. So to create the background to be gray, we need to make sure that we select the composition window at the bottom where we see the file. Here's our file. And with that selected, I'll go to Composition, Composition Settings. And here I'll change the color to a gray. I'll make them all about 103 or 104. I'll click OK. Now while I'm here, I'm going to change the duration because we want 3+ versions so that it loops 3 times. So in duration, I'll click and drag through all the zeros, and I'll put in 1700, and I'll hit return. What I've done is I just increased the length of my timeline, but doesn't show right away. So if I were to go down to the bottom of the interface, these two little mountain peaks, if I drag now to the left, you'll see that if I go all the way over, it shows me my entire timeline. The key quick for that is plus and minus on the keyboard. Now I'm going to copy this 3 times. I'll do that by selecting the first one, hitting Command D, and I'll drag it to the end of the first one. If I hold the Shift key, it snaps precisely. I'll do that one more time. I'll hit Command D, and then I'll drag that one as well. And if I drag through my timeline now, I get 3 versions of it, but then it goes blank at the end. With the last clip selected, I'll right-click. And if I was to go to time, I'll see the option to freeze on last frame. And now the last frame holds static for the end of the movie. Now I want to export that. I'm going to go to Composition, Add to Render Queue. And in Render Queue, I'm going to confirm that it's H.264. And if that is correct, I'll go over to Output 2, clicking on the blue term Not Yet Specified, and I'll name my clip, and then I'll click on the Render button. And that will pretty much give us what we need for the tutorial file.